more than 2,000 years ago, a single man achieved something that had never been done before in human history. He took 7 constantly warring states and forged them into one unified empire that would shape the destiny of the world's most populous civilization for over 2 millennia. He built a wall so enormous future generations would call it the only man-made structure visible from space. He standardized everything from the written language to the width of chariot wheels, and yet his own dynasty barely lasted 15 years. How did one of the greatest civilizations on Earth rise, flourish, fracture, and repeatedly renew itself across more than 2,000 years of imperial rule? This is the complete history of ancient China, from the iron-fisted unification under Qin Shi Huang to the final, heartbreaking days of the last emperor. Let's begin. For over 250 years, China had been torn apart by the Warring States period. 7 powerful kingdoms fought endlessly for dominance. Alliances were made and broken. Betrayal was common. The land was soaked in blood. Then, in the western state of Qin, a young and exceptionally ruthless king named Zheng ascended the throne. He possessed a powerful army, brilliant generals, and an unwavering belief in legalist philosophy, the idea that strict laws, harsh punishments, and absolute central control were the only way to govern. One by one, he conquered the other 6 states. In 221 BC, after defeating the last rival kingdom, he declared himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of Qin. For the first time in history, China was united under a single ruler. Qin Shi Huang wasted no time reshaping China in his image. He standardized the written script so that people across the vast empire could communicate. He standardized weights, measures, currency, and even the axle width of carts so that roads and wheels worked everywhere. He ordered the construction of an extensive network of highways and canals, and most famously, he connected and strengthened existing defensive walls in the north, creating what would later become known as the Great Wall of China, designed to keep out the nomadic Xiongnu tribes. But his rule was extremely harsh. He followed legalism strictly. Books that contradicted his philosophy were burned. Scholars who criticized him were buried alive. His obsession with immortality led him to drink mercury elixirs and construct one of the most incredible tombs ever built, guarded by the legendary Terracotta army. When Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BC while traveling, his empire quickly unraveled. Heavy taxation, forced labor, and brutal laws sparked massive rebellions. The Qin dynasty, despite its monumental achievements, lasted only 15 years. Out of the chaos after the Qin collapse rose a new dynasty founded by a peasant named Liu Bang, who became Emperor Gaozu of Han. The Han dynasty would last over 400 years and become China's model for imperial rule. Emperor Wu of Han greatly expanded the empire's territory, pushing deep into Central Asia, Korea, and Vietnam. He established the Silk Road, creating a vital trade route that connected China with the Roman Empire. Silk, spices, jade, and ideas flowed in both directions. Han China became a center of innovation and culture. Paper was invented. The world's first seismograph was created. Confucianism was adopted as the official state philosophy, and a merit-based civil service examination system began to take shape. At its height, the Han Empire was one of the most powerful and prosperous civilizations on Earth, rivaling the Roman Empire in the West. But even the Great Han eventually declined. Eunuchs and corrupt officials gained too much power at court. Heavy taxation and natural disasters led to peasant uprisings. In 220 AD, the Han dynasty finally collapsed, plunging China into nearly 4 centuries of division known as the Three Kingdoms and period of disunity. After centuries of fragmentation, the short-lived Sui dynasty reunified China in 589 AD. They built the Grand Canal, an engineering marvel that linked northern and southern China and is still in use today. However, their harsh rule and massive construction projects caused widespread resentment, and the Sui fell after only 37 years. The Tang dynasty that followed became another golden age. Emperor Taizong was a wise and capable ruler who promoted stability and expansion. The Tang capital, Chang'an, became the largest and most cosmopolitan city in the world, home to over 1 million people from many different cultures and religion. Poetry reached new heights with legendary poets like Li Bai and Du Fu. Buddhism flourished. The empire welcomed foreign traders, artists, and scholars. For a time, women enjoyed relatively high status, and China even had a female emperor, Wu Zetian. The Tang Empire stretched from Central Asia to Korea and Japan, but internal rebellions, particularly the devastating Anlushan Rebellion in 755 AD, severely weakened the dynasty. By 907 AD, the Tang had fallen, and China once again entered a period of division. The Song dynasty brought China to new levels of economic prosperity and technological innovation, even though it controlled less territory than the Tang. This was the era when China invented movable type printing, advanced gunpowder weapons, the magnetic compass for navigation, and highly sophisticated shipbuilding. Paper money became widely used for the first time in history. Cities grew massive, with some reaching populations of over 1 million. Culture and philosophy thrived with the development of Neo-Confucianism. However, the Song faced constant military pressure from northern nomadic powers, first the Liao, then the Jin, and finally the unstoppable Mongols. In 1279, the last Song emperor perished during the final Mongol invasion, bringing an end to the dynasty. After decades of warfare, Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, established the Yuan dynasty and ruled all of China. For the first time, China was governed by foreign Mongol rulers. The Yuan reopened the Silk Road and facilitated trade and cultural exchange across Eurasia. Marco Polo visited during this period and later introduced China's wonders to Europe. However, the Mongols often treated the native Han Chinese as second-class citizens. Heavy taxation, corruption, and natural disasters fueled widespread anger. In 1368, a peasant rebel leader named Zhu Yuanzhang successfully drove out the Mongols and founded the Ming dynasty. The Ming emperors worked hard to restore Chinese pride and power. They strengthened and rebuilt the Great Wall into the impressive structure we recognize today. Early Ming rulers sent Admiral Zheng He on 7 massive naval expeditions, with enormous treasure fleets that reached as far as East Africa. Ming China produced exquisite porcelain, advanced agriculture, and rich literature and art. However, later emperors adopted increasingly isolationist policies, restricting maritime trade and focusing inward. By the 17th century, corruption at court, eunuch influence, and severe peasant uprisings had weakened the Ming severely. In 1644, rebel forces captured Beijing, and the last Ming emperor hanged himself on a tree outside the Forbidden City. The Qing dynasty, established by the Manchu people from the northeast, became China's last imperial dynasty. Under strong emperors like Kangxi, Yongzheng, and Qianlong, the Qing expanded China to its greatest territorial size ever, incorporating Tibet, Xinjiang, Mongolia, and Taiwan. The early Qing brought stability and economic growth. Population boomed and agriculture improved. However, the Qing maintained a strict ethnic hierarchy between Manchu rulers and Han Chinese. In the 19th century, China faced growing challenges from Western powers. The Opium Wars forced China to open its ports. The devastating Taiping Rebellion, one of the bloodiest conflicts in history, killed tens of millions. Attempts at modernization came too late. By the early 20th century, imperial rule was collapsing. In 1911, the Xinhai Revolution swept across China. On February 12, 1912, the 6-year-old last emperor, Puyi, was forced to abdicate, officially ending more than 2,000 years of imperial China. So what allowed Chinese civilization to endure for over 2,000 years, while so many other empires rose and fell? A strong, centralized bureaucracy, a unifying written language that survived dynastic changes, the deep influence of Confucian values, emphasizing harmony and duty, and the remarkable ability to absorb conquerors while preserving core cultural identity all played crucial roles. China's imperial history is a testament to resilience, innovation, and the enduring power of civilization itself. From the iron will of Qin Shi Huang to the quiet abdication of the child emperor Puyi, the story of ancient China is one of the most remarkable journeys in human history, filled with conquest, innovation, philosophy, art, suffering, and renewal. Thank you so much for watching Empire and Civilization Hub.